Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Sports and some massive festive season news. 'Tis the season to be jolly for Stormers fans with the confirmation that Siya Kolisi will return to Cape Town for the 2026-2027 URC season and is officially playing in his last season for the Sharks. I mean, he was the big signing, the landmark signing that basically started the new era for the Sharks under the MVM consortium, and it's a bit. I wouldn't say it's coming to an end, but it's definitely moving into a different cycle now. We had a Sharks sort of takeover, which brought back Galacticos type signings, and suddenly had like 12, 13 Springboks on their books. It didn't really work, and they then started sort of change their strategy a little bit. And the Stormers, after how many years of financial issues, have sorted out their house and are bringing in some massive players. And Siya Kolisi has been announced as one of them just days after it was announced that Sasha Zulu has officially put pen to paper for another 4 years down in Cape Town. Kurt Reinach arrived in the summer. Wilco Low said to arrive next year as well, and that Stormer side is going to be absolutely stacked. Before we go into the Siya Kolisi move, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Right, so this is the press release that was sent out a little while ago, saying that the Sharks can confirm that Siya Kolisi will leave the franchise at the conclusion of the current season to take up an opportunity with the Stormers. And there's a couple of sort of quotes, the likes of that. Basically, the main reason is his family's there. And obviously, since the divorce, Rachel Kolisi has moved back to Cape Town, and his kids are based there, and this obviously allows him to be by his family and with his family. So it's a very personal move from a Siya Kolisi point of view. I also think that this is quite a tactical move from the Sharks. If we're going to be brutally honest, Siya Kolisi has not really worked at the Sharks. He's had some fantastic games, no doubt about it. Obviously brought an aura to the squad and to the union, but he's not been available enough. And he's not been, I think, contributing as consistently and at the sort of level that the Sharks were probably hoping for when they signed him. And that was the big thing. He was the big signing. They were signing a captain, they were signing a World Cup winner. They were, going to basically build a squad around this hallmark signing of Siya Kolisi, and it's not quite worked. And I think the Sharks have realized that Springboks are great to have in your squad, but there is a very, very big compromise, and that's the fact that they just don't give you the number of games that, for example, a Vincent Tuka has been able to give the Sharks in the last couple of years. A Pepsi Buthelezi, for example, have become far more important players, not necessarily as good, but as important players who are actually on smaller wages. This is a big offload of wages from a Sharks point of view. So it definitely does free up cash. Obviously he moved to Racing. It didn't work out, and they had to pay out. Well, one of the members of the consortium paid out a transfer fee, brought him back, and it just hasn't really worked in the way they were liked. I mean, if you look, for example, I think in his total games, he's played 4 games for the Sharks so far this season, and he's been there, and he played 51. He's played 51 games for the Sharks over how many years? He played 18 in one season at Racing, for example. He made his move to the Sharks back in 2020, and the most URC games he's ever played in a season was 14 for them, and yeah, it's just not quite it worked in that regard. If you look at recently, for example, as I said, so far he's played 4 matches this season for the Sharks. If we go back last season, it was 16 matches. It's not as Racing, for example, got 18 matches out of him, and they were very upset at the lack of availability and the lack of match they had. The Sharks are getting him for even less. And that's the reality. So it's a very interesting move. Now, in terms of what they had to say, Sean Brown, the CEO, said Siya's contribution to the Sharks goes far beyond match day, which kind of has to, because I said he didn't play as much as they like. He brought a level of leadership, humility, and perspective that lifted everyone around him. While it is never easy to say goodbye to a player of his caliber, we fully respect his decision to put his family first. Importantly, CS helped set standards that will remain long after he moves on, and that creates a real opportunity for the next group of leaders to emerge. I think he's quite right. Obviously bringing the Springboks in, the trade-offs, they might not be able to available as much, and they obviously have to have mandatory standpoint. But also at the same time, you get to bring that experience, that level of how we train, of how we do things, the professionalism, for example, that Rusty environment into the Sharks changing room. And I think that, for example, has been a big sort of asset. they've got some fantastic players coming through. Pepsi Buthelezi headlines a bunch of players who have re-signed with the Sharks up till 2029. Fezembata, part of that list, Little Best as well, and a couple of the youngsters who have sort of committed their futures. Now, you look, so for example, at Matt Romeo coming through, and they mentioned Blake Hatch and Matt Romeo, some very, very good young players. So I think the Sharks will be able to cope, but I'll be interested to sort of see what their approach is moving forward. You know, the Stormers have obviously got such a good base of players, but they're also adding superstars now. They've brought back Kobus Reinach, they're adding Vilkolo, they're adding Siya Kolisi, they're keeping Sasha, they're keeping Damian Willemse. Stormers are all of a sudden probably looking at having a squad that's definitely going to compete for the URC, especially the way they're playing, but potentially could even compete for Champions Cup down the road. So it's a really positive move from the Stormers' point of view. In terms of what Kolisi has said, he said, the Sharks have been a special part of my journey. He said, from the players and the coaches to the staff and supporters, this is a team with strong values and a real sense of family. I have loved being part of this group and especially enjoyed seeing the younger guys develop and gain confidence. While I had hoped to complete my career at the Sharks, I have to be there for my family who were unable to relocate to Durban. The decision wasn't easy, but it's about just being closer to my kids. I leave with nothing but respect for the Sharks and the real belief in where this team's heading. So, I mean, it's an interesting statement that in itself, you know, the fact that they have very much said, well, he said that he didn't want to leave, that he wanted to, and you know, there's rumors coming that it was more the Sharks kind of basically saying you can move him on because they want to sort of free up a bit of the money and the likes of that. But it's a full circle moment though for him. You know, he is coming home to Cape Town quite literally. And with regards to what he had to say about the move, you know, from a Stormers point of view, he said, I have such incredible memories of my time at the DHL Stormers. The way I was embraced by the fans in my formative years has never left me. My family is in Cape Town and it's important for me to be close to them. The move gives me a chance to do that while also be giving back to the team and fans who made such a big contribution to the player and person I am today. I am looking forward to contributing in any way I can to the future success and the happiness of this special club and its incredible supporters. John Dobson said the following. He said, we have got an outstanding crop of loose forwards in our squad and a number of very strong young leaders with the last 3 junior Springbok captains all on our books. He said Siya will be able to help develop these players and mentor them in a way that nobody else could, given what he has achieved and what he represents to all South Africans and especially our fans. We are very worried of the load he has carried professionally and personally over the years, but what is so encouraging is the way that he has brought into helping us reach our goals we have set for ourselves, developing our squad as we build towards Project 2029, which is kind of where the Stormers want to basically win everything, you know, win a Champions Cup and the likes of that. And that's what they're building towards. And that's why, you know, there is that Sasha contract to 2029, because that's basically the big year they've been building themselves up for. I mean, at the moment, they're very much ahead of the curve and ahead of where they are. But I think what you're seeing in that statement is already, for example, an admittance that he's not going to just be an on-the-field player, that they're trying to get more out of him. And maybe even sort of taper the expectations with regards to, well, we're not just signing someone who's going to play week in, week out, you know, win man of the match and stuff like that. Is a much bigger picture thinking with regards to his signing. So what do you think? Good move, bad move? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.